Everybody, this is Scott from Lawrence Hypnotherapy, and welcome back to the next video where we're talking about when it comes to the funnels and everything you've done so far, and everything you're going to do, and every version of that that could be taught by anybody. It's kind of nice to have a map where you can see, like, how does it all fit? What have you done so far? What's the plan moving ahead? What's your next step? All of those kind of questions. And as a visual representation, I wanted to get into it this way and basically go, well, here's the big version of anything that you'll ever do. And so what's on the screen right now isn't necessarily the plan we want you to follow. This is more, as you extend it, as you make it bigger, this is kind of like a breakdown of the entire plan. I don't want to spend much time on this screen because then I want to go into like just the jump starter where I show you kind of what to do next. But it all does come, like, no matter what you're doing, it all does come down to these 3 T's of traffic, trust, and transaction. Because basically traffic, well, you got to find people. The trust, you've got to then basically get them to know, like, and trust you. To think that, like, well, they have a problem that you could fix and you seem like the one to help them. Then transaction, where you say, we actually have an offer that we want you to take up. And for them to feel so enticed by it that they actually buy it. That's pretty much it. So traffic, there's many ways of getting it. So whether it's like Google, Facebook, word of mouth, whatever it is. Trust, the whole process of like where you prove yourself to them. And then the transaction. And to kind of break it down into smaller bits. Short posts, which you guys have done now. Facebook Lives, which you're in the process of doing 21 days of. Paid Facebook ads or boosts. Google ads and word of mouth. These can lead people to the trust section. So opt-in pages, ebooks, the 3 free videos you give people, which we call the Indoctrination, Mythbuster, and Case Study. The Indoctrination being a teach. The Mythbuster, you tell people what does and doesn't work. The Case Study, you talk about someone you've helped or someone in the industry or a person who's been helped by the same techniques that you use. Group challenges, which is kind of like what you're in now. And it is kind of, in a way, it's a funnel. Because from there, people have bought the next thing. You give, and then at some point, the people who want to take the next step do take the next step. And email trust campaigns, where this basically means when you're emailing people, instead of emailing them, asking them to pay you to join a program, that's an email sales cycle. An email trust campaign, it was when you email people to give them a free ebook or a free video. The transaction, which can be done on the HOC page, the headline offer call to action that we've talked about, or a sales offer video, or a short phone script with the appointment program pause, an email sales cycle, which we'll talk about later, or sales calls, which is that real, you could say, like, the hardcore method, ringing people up and selling something that's worth, 5 to 15,000. So let's look at 2 different versions of this. The jump starter, which is that all you need to do now, and the other one, which is what's next, what comes after all of this. So let's start with the jump starter. It still comes down to traffic, where do you find them? Trust, and then transaction, getting them to buy. That's pretty much it. So just going back to traffic, here's the shortest version. Short posts, where you say, how to get good thing if bad thing, then you have an empty line, and then you say, type I'm in to download my ebook, or type I'm in to download my video, or watch my video. That's the short post. You get all these people saying I'm in. That's the traffic part done as the jump starter. The trust is where, once people have typed I'm in, you've got to take them somewhere. And so they're going like, well, all these people are hanging, and it's kind of deliberate a little bit. It's like that, you can find kind of what comes up, like what emotions come up for you in the meantime, like leaving people hanging for 2 days. But also, it's good to get it done because it commits you to the next step. It's kind of like a bit of pressure to kind of go, well, I'm going to get this done, but hopefully good pressure, because then it means that the pressure can be alleviated by you reach out, I help. And so I've been on the phone to some of you for a few hours, some for like only an hour or so, and some still waiting to talk to, which will happen at some point. But I'm here to help. So the 2 things you give people to raise trust is either an ebook or the indoctrination video. And so when people have said I'm in, you give them the lead pages link, which sends them to your opt-in page, and they ask for your ebook. The ebook then gets emailed to the email address that you gave them, They don't get the email, sorry, they don't get the ebook on the actual thank you page. And this stops them from putting in a fake email address. So the only way that they can get your ebook is to give you a real email address. Otherwise, the ebook won't get emailed to them. And that's something that Leadpages does for you automatically. And then once they've opted in, it sends them to the thank you page where it says that your ebook is on its way. And the indoctrination video is the video that appears on the thank you page. This is something that I've helped some of you with one-on-one on the phone a little bit. If you want help, reach out. I'll help you with it. But this is part of what you want to get done in this challenge. The transaction then is to have a sales offer video done, an email campaign, and Facebook Live sales offers happening. And this is something that I can talk to you about soon, but like, the reason people get overwhelmed, if we could say basically that overwhelm isn't a condition someone has, it's an action that somebody's taking. They're doing overwhelm. The idea is that you've got to care more and less at the same time. And it sounds like a paradox. Care and bring high quality, but if you find yourself stressing about the whole thing, you've got to drop it and let it go from the emotions and go like, well, get into play. Just be in play. And so, like, whatever it is that you need to do to get into play, that's why, like, you know, when you make the first web page, we ask you to make a joke web page because it just takes the pressure off. So I will help you with the sales offer video, the email campaign, the Facebook Live sales offer that happens. But this is an overview. This is not the training video on how to get those things done. This is a big picture so you can kind of see what's happening. So that's basically the jump starter. So by now, you want to make sure that you've done traffic and trust. Transaction can happen next week. But traffic and trust, that's kind of like what you want to be finishing or looking at finishing off at the moment. So your short posts that say how to get good thing if bad thing, then a blank line, then type them in to get my ebook. And then replying to them with the opt-in page where they can ask for your ebook. It gets emailed to them. And then on the thank you page, there's the indoctrination video. That's it for now. And soon I'll help you with the transaction part where we're going to basically use the traffic and the trust that you've built to start booking people in. What it looks like. So this is kind of like a big picture of kind of like what it looks like. I've also asked you to make Facebook groups or like one Facebook group. And so here's like a bit of a diagram about the process. So we could basically say, like, with a Facebook group, step one, make a Facebook group. There's a video in the resource page that tells you how to make the banner. And we want to make sure that the Facebook group that you make isn't about your name and it's not about your technique. So it's not about coaching, hypnosis, it's not about NLP. It's also not your name. It's the name of your group should be how to achieve result, like how to quit smoking, how to cure anxiety with hypnotherapy, or like whatever it is. It's kind of like or how to cure addiction with hypnotherapy. It's about a result. Once you've made a Facebook group, you can put the short post into the Facebook group. So that one we talked about, like how to get good thing if bad thing, empty line, and then type I'm in, that goes into the group. To make sure that you're getting even more traction, we want you to share that post outside of your group. We want you to share it onto your newsfeed, and we also want you to share it into 10 other Facebook groups. That gets people from those other Facebook groups to not only maybe say I'm in on your post that you've shared, but it brings them into your group. So I've got a group called How to Cure Addiction with Hypnotherapy that's got somewhere between 1,100 to 1,200 people. I didn't work very hard to get them there. I basically just did ebooks and videos, just whenever I felt like it. I put it out, and people asked to come into my group because my group's full of training. Because just over time, I've just like put, well, here's a video, and here's a video, and here's another video. I'm going to show you how to do that stuff more, and that's what we call, like, you know, there's the ebook Indoctrination Mythbuster case study. That's the stuff that brings people to the group. And then you type, like where they've typed I'm in, You give them the opt-in page, which takes them to your lead pages page that has that 3D image of your ebook. They opt in, and then they get to see your first video. So that's kind of like what that process looks like when you're using a Facebook group with it. Next, and not now, in the next program especially, this is what I want to help you with. So this is what I want to do, hands-on stuff with you to make sure that like you've got a much bigger funnel happening, to really make sure that you're doing the 6 figures. So it starts with like your previous funnel, what you've done. You've already had the short posts, the ebook, and the first video. Then we want you to have a Mythbuster video where you really let the people out there know that, because there's just so many techniques out there, some of them are great and some of them are not so great. So then you're sort of asking like, well, or the viewer's asking, how do I know who to trust? This is where you help them out. You kind of go, well, let me bust some myths. Here's 5 things maybe you believe today that aren't true, and here's what you should believe instead. So if it's around depression, it might be, you might think that depression is something where you need to permanently suffer at the same amount of suffering all of the time, and you might think that it can never actually reduce. But there's actually techniques that show that even if it's something that pops up forever, it might pop up in much, much, much smaller amounts for much, much shorter periods of time and much, much less intense. And you've got then techniques to be able to like notice it and let it pass more quickly instead of like falling down a rabbit hole when it happens. So that might be a myth that you bust, or it might be something else about relationships, or something else about health. And then the third one, the third video, is going to be a case study where you basically talk about a client journey or somebody who's been helped with hypnotherapy. So this is going to be someone who's not you. I used Greg Thomas and talked about how he did $80,000 in hypnotherapy in 1 year with one webpage. So he was brilliant. He basically just did that one webpage, how to quit smoking in 90 minutes. And I used that as my case study video. And then you can, from video 3, lead them to your Hock page, which is the headline of a call to action. If you just kind of want to do it in the simple way, if you want to charge something like 6 sessions of 200. And then have a payment button where you're going to be using either PayPal or any other merchant that you like to get them to give you the money, so that it's just a matter of hopping on the phone and booking them in for the actual session. Or there's another way of doing it where after they've seen the case study video, they then get to see your lead pages sales video. This is the part that I really want to help you with, is to make a really, really great sales offer video. So there's a program that I've got that's even just, it's 15,000, and I've got a sales offer video that I give people. People who attended my seminar that I did in January, we closed $90,000 worth of business in 2 days by just running a seminar just to 2 groups of people. So we saw about 40 people over 2 days. We did the seminar on day 1 with 20 people. We did the seminar with just under 20 people on day 2 and closed $90,000 worth of business. And then what was really surprising is because we took the slides and I just made a video out of it, I put that out to my email list and I put it out to my Facebook group, and I had people join who didn't even attend the seminar. So that with the $15,000, they were paying $500 a month for 30 months. And it's just reoccurring income. I continue to help them. I continue to serve them. I continue to help them to get really great results. But that's just from a video. So people had seen my Facebook group, my Indoctrination Mythbuster case study video, then they saw my sales offer video, which was good enough in itself to get multiple people to pay $15,000 for some coaching from me. And so that's so much better than like having to kind of pitch all the time and be on the phone to sell something of high value. So let's say that you want to do a hypnotherapy program where it could be something like 12 sessions, or something like it's $2,500 or $3,000 to $5,000 for an ongoing therapy package, just so that you know that you've got you don't have to worry so much about selling anymore. You don't need to worry so much about money anymore. You don't need to worry so much about basically just booking people in. Instead, you can actually focus on what you love, which is getting people results and helping them. This is pretty much where I'm at. I get to basically focus on you guys, I get to focus on my clients, I get to focus on my students, and I get to give lots of value. And I'm constantly looking for ways to make their lives better because I don't have to worry about how to sell, if that makes sense. because there's like enough reoccurring business coming because my videos are done. That's where I want you to be. I want your videos to be done. So once you've got the sales off a video, then using either PayPal or any other merchants to do the reoccurring payments for you so that you do not need to keep track of it. If for any reason that they their payment kind of like skips a day, it tries again for you automatically the next day. And that's really incredible. So this is really something that I would like to get you to do. So next week, we're going to be working on your phone script, the 1-minute phone script to book people in. I have homework for you. Before we get into the phone script that I want you to use, I just want you to be really honest with me and do one video, upload it to the group, and show us what your current phone script is. Warts and all. If it's wonky, please show it to me wonky, because this is how I can help you, and this is how I can make sure that people are booking in quite simply and easily with the 1-minute phone script if I know what you're currently saying. Guys, you've been amazing. Thank you so much. Homework, just upload a video of your current script, and I'll see you tomorrow.